Hey you, this is Vicki Joe and I'm here with
Robin.
And we were having an interesting conversation earlier about...
Well, it's interesting, over lunch we were talking about various personality type related email lists, and I'm a member of several of them. One in particular that I'm on at the moment is very interesting what's happening there, because some people of a different type have come on board this particular list and they're talking about their opinions of the people who are the main constituents of this list and slandering them and basically talking about what they don't like about that type. And it's becoming quite a free-for-all, as you can imagine, with people getting defensive and people getting aggressive and, you know, all kinds of accusations flying back and forth. It's quite an interesting discussion.
It's just sort of an amazing thing for me to contemplate, you know, to jump onto another list and start, you know, slinging stuff around and talking about how awful that type is.
It's disrespectful and it's rude. You know, it's like going to somebody else's house for a party and sort of criticising their furniture or their taste in decorating or something like that.
That's great. That's great. This is reminding me of an author that I like named David Rico. And he has a quote that says, judging others is a way of avoiding our own confrontation with the shadow.
Interesting.
And I'm hearing some of that, you know, it's easier to go onto some other type list and be drama queens. I mean, I don't know how else to state that, right? I mean, that's kind of a drama queen thing to do, to go and tell some other, give them what for, and there's so much judgment laden in that, you know? And there's a wonderful book called The Four Agreements. I think Ruiz, I think, is the author, and he says in this book that nothing is personal. You know, nothing is personal. And I'm kind of hearing a little bit of that in what you're describing, because it feels like these other people come in and they're judging and they're like, you know, you this and you that, and the finger pointing and all that. And what's ironic is, you know, the other people come back and like defending about, like, you know, oh, that's not true and how dare you, etc. When the truth is, it's not even about the people on the list, right? It's not personal. So people are getting up in arms and taking something personal that's just really not personal to begin with, which is, you know, kind of a waste of effort and energy in a certain respect. And more than that, what I notice is that, I had it and I lost it, that when we judge others, and this is such a fascinating piece, and it's taken me years to get it, and I still don't really have it. I get it, I lose it, I get it, I lose it. Is the piece around, you know, when we go to judge other people, we really aren't judging them. What we're judging is things about ourselves that we see in them that we don't like, and we're trying to disown. Yeah?
Yeah, so what you're saying is that it's an indication of what work people should be doing on themselves rather than work they should be trying to project onto other people.
Yeah, you got it. The psychological term is projection. And so that, you know, there's a part of me that I don't like, right, that I have not come to grips with. And this often shows up just around the JP scale, as a for instance. So let's say you have a preference for perceiving, I have a preference for judging, and I get to go, you know, oh, you perceiving types, you are never on time, and you're sloppy, and you're disorganized, and wow, 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 wow. When the truth is I can't stand that part of myself, and I can't get hold of that, and I can't, you know, I can't be with it. So I disown it, and I get to project it onto you and say, you, blah, blah, blah. And I have this really weird idea that if I could just get rid of you, or fix you, or break you, or, you know, whatever, that then I won't have to deal with that part of myself that is perceiving, even though I have a J in my code. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. And the other thing that I've noticed on this list too is that the criticisers who are coming on board are effectively being very generalistic about it. You know, they're generalising and saying all XYZ types are like this because I know one or two who are like that, or I read this on a website somewhere and therefore it applies to you all. You know,
I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, that's an aspect of type that's so interesting. It's the you know, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, right? And didn't we all do that when we first encountered type, and we read those descriptions and we said, oh, that's me,
Yep.
you know, and according to that type description, we were smart, we were clever, we were pure, we were smart, you know.
And the problem is, of course, that we then take that as gospel. It's
yes.
been stamped on our forehead as, you know, big letters, and that's it. It's our license plate, as Dr. Beebe likes to say.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people take it as being static and set in stone, and that's it. Nothing ever changes.
Yeah. One of the problems in the type community, and I run into this over and over and over again, is this idea that type is static, and it describes who we are.
Yep.
You know. And that it's like astrology, you know, when you read those astrological signs and it says, you know, you are smart and witty and pure and decent and beautiful, you know, and it's like, oh, that's me, I'm so happy. But that in and of itself just doesn't go very far.
No.
You know, it really doesn't. And the truth is, and this is one of the hardest truths to get hold of, is that every type is beautiful. Every type is smart. Every type is wonderful, bar none. Bar none. Okay? So nobody owns the market on that. So if that's the case, then what's the value of type? Why have you and I spent over a decade, well over a decade, fooling around in this particular field?
Yeah.
Right? Do you know why?
Yeah, absolutely. It's because it is not a static model, it's a dynamic model.
Yeah.
And it's, as Jung said, it's a model of consciousness, and it is all about what you do, not who you are.
Yeah.
That's why we don't like to say I am an INTJ. I like to say I have INTJ preferences, meaning that my preference is for that particular style of behaviour, but it doesn't preclude me from doing other things. And
Yeah.
It's all about the doing.
Well, and that's the piece, and I think that's the interesting place also to look. So when, you know, somebody comes on your list and starts talking about how terrible your type is, and you know, defend and like, oh no, that's not true. And, you know, I wonder, is there just a teeny tiny bit of truth in the accusation that's flying that makes it difficult to be with, and maybe shines a light on the thing that we really ought to be working on? So rather than defending, maybe there's a space to say, you know, you might be right. There may be some truth in that.
Yep.
I'm going to take a look at that. Maybe I'll go to work on that. Because while you may be intelligent and smart and beautiful, as you know, look in that mirror, right? Are you intelligent and smart and beautiful in all your interactions with other people? Okay.
Yeah.
If there's a conflict, are you graceful in the midst of conflict, or do you get mean and nasty and witchy and all of that, right?
And that all gets back to the doing rather than the being, because even though the description says that this is what you are, in inverted commas, it's what you do with those codes, it's what you do with those cognitive processes that really matters. And yes, we're all different, we're all individual, which means we're all doing different aspects of our personality, even though we have a preference.
Well, and we all have opportunities for growth, and we know what those are. If you don't know what those are, just ask people who know you, and they will gladly tell you where you need to work on yourself and develop. So there's just so much to type that gets overlooked, and it's so silly to kind of defend the who you are when there's so much about how to be, how to do.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do we want to say to wrap this up?
Well, I think the main thing to say is don't get hooked into the notion that your 4-letter MBTI code is set in stone and it is like a paperweight you stick on your desk that you look at to remind yourself this is who I am. It's
don't get invested in defending that paperweight.
Exactly. Because
that paperweight is moving. It's in energy. It's adjusting. It's changing all the time.
It's more like a block of silly putty that you can mould and shape into all different shapes that you want to use.
Great.
So that's about it, I guess.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.